BhairavaKalikeNamosthute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Maa Adyamahakali. Maa. It is very windy, so hello, we're back on another video. Apologies if I keep adjusting the camera and holding the umbrella. It's very windy, like I said, and it's raining. But let's get right into it. So many of us who just start the path of sadhana of Bhairava or into the sadhana of Bhairava will find that they have certain desires that are constantly poking at them, and they will constantly pull at them to complete the desire and achieve it. The urge to, for example, become extremely wealthy or have good food, find an excellent partner or get their dream career will keep popping up. And with this, we also keep thinking simultaneously that no, this desire is wrong. So what ends up happening is that we majorly sit in a corner whilst doing sadhana, completely pretending that we don't have these desires. We are free from, these materialistic wishes and are absolute vairagis, which is just not the case. Once you start Bhairava sadhana, you immediately find or notice the Samudra Manthan, we talked about this before, happening within your soul. Devas on one side, the Asuras on the other, with your Asuric side popping up constantly and trying to divert attention. We can't pretend that we don't have this Asuric side, so that's simply not true. The whole point of this is to become a true master of both the Deva and the Asura within you. Think of the Vajra and its equilibrium. The Asuric side is what allows you to, mitigate and achieve things in Mrityoloka itself. So this is something you can't say that isn't part of me or cannot avoid simply. In the sadhana of Bhattuka Bhairava, the young Bhairava who's moving, just freshly sprouted out of, Shiva's third eye, sadhakas aren't necessarily ready to be at the state where they sit in the smashana. They aren't able to sit down and actually realize that they don't have any specific goals for family, nor are there any desires the Pithrus have projected into the bloodline due to karma from the bloodline. Not because you're pretending, however, because you've come to Shunyata with them. Shunyata how? Well, either by achieving the desires and thereby conquering them, or by realizing and coming to a state where you find out or realize that, this specific desire actually holds no value and therefore overcome it that way. But then these sorts of desires and from where this fear or urge to pretend that they don't exist will majorly pull you back from the moksha path itself, because they're meant to trap the average human and keep that bloodline in the cycle. So in the path of Bhairava, it is essential to completely decimate and attain shunyata, through the ways that I've talked about, or any other ways. The moment we pretend that there aren't any desires within them, we're then forced to come back another life to achieve them in the other lifetime that we've come back for. It is extremely important to finish off these desires. This particular form, form is very important. With a form, we evoke emotions and ideas and thoughts and energy of that particular form. And that will be different from, say, one form we talk about, say, Sri Rama, to another form. So this particular form that I want to talk about today, Swarnakarshana Bhairava, represents all the glitters, the highest states of kingship over all material desires, the most royal and rajasic form of Bhairava. It is Bhattuka when he attains the state of the king of time itself. He's given the title of Swarnakarshana Bhairava. Once this state of Swarnakarshana is attained, every desire in Mrityoloka is basically at your foot. It can completely be granted by him and experienced by the sadhaka. When the Devas and the Asuras fought for many celestial years, Kubera's treasury was emptied, and even Ma Lakshmi, Kamala, lost her riches. The heavens dimmed and the Devas basically turned to Shiva for guidance. At his command, Nandiji spoke to Rishi Markandeya about this form of Swarnakarshana Bhairava, who is radiant and golden hued. Then Kubera Swami and Ma Kamala did tapasya to attain darshan of Bhairava and get back their riches. So that's who this form of Bhairava is. Swarnakarshana Bhairava it's like he represents that middle pathway, right, which allows the sadhaka to traverse his life, not wasting it by saying I don't have any desires when they actually do, and completely embracing the karma, achieving all they want, and at the same time surrendering to Bhairava, who holds the jiva with the noose. The noose in Yama's hand, the pasha, and when Bhairava holds it are completely different. Yama can only hold your jiva once you're dead. However, Bhairava's pasha holds you whilst you're living. When that cosmic damaru starts to play and you find yourself aligning to Bhairava, he will take hold of you and control your jiva. Bhairava will make you, rise. You will still burn all your karma. However, when it comes to desires, he will slowly transform you and slowly make you realize that, hey, this isn't that important, or make you achieve it. And also at the same time increase your vairagya, where you'll come to realize that these desires hold no value, so it doesn't make any sense to run after them anymore. The desires you want to achieve, he'll let you and propel you even in all pursuits. But he is Bhairava only, so he will allow you to traverse the material world whilst having enough vairagya within you. For the young, ambitious seekers who have goals, you need to pay rents, etc., he will direct your prana and temper you into gold. Through fulfillment will then come detachment. He will make you in such that no matter what happens, you will stand in the material planes, in the Mrityuloka, being an untouchable emperor. However, with vairagya, like the Gori with the Ferrari, right? Fierce, focused, and most importantly, free from everything. There are 3 specific forms or photos, I guess, or ways, you'll see Swarnakarshana Bhairava being portrayed. Number 1 is where he stands with his vana, the white dog, feet parallel, and he stands erect and upright. Here, Bhairava is full of prana, energy, ready to move, and represents the sadhaka who's just begun his journey and needs to direct prana to achieve wherever, be it career, academics, or money, etc. This is where he's in his full glory, right? The status of the king, the hero of all the worlds. The next form of Bhairava is where he stands and showers gold on either side of him. You've got Kuberaji and Kamala, Lakshmi, kneel. There is a great significance behind this form as well. Swarnakarshana Bhairava, also known as Narayana Bhairava, right? Clues in the name only. As Ma Kamala prays and receives darshan of this particular form, she sees her Adhara in Bhairava only, right? With the normal paths within Brahmadeva's 4 heads, worship of Kuberaji and Mahalakshmi, will give you wealth. But then this wealth received won't stay. It's not permanent. It's more of a borrowed source of money being lent to you, borrowed from Swarnakarshana Bhairava. When we talk about the elemental, collapse of Brahmadeva's paths, Bhairava cuts off the 5th head. Brahma, who says you must worship these particular forms in these particular approaches and these particular ways to get wealth. Bhairava says, forget all of that. I will take all of this and show a path on how to get wealth in my way. He gives you the ability to attain whatever's in those 4 heads of Brahma, but in that 1/5 head. That 5th head is the most powerful. Even Brahmadeva wasn't allowed to keep it. So even with Mahalakshmi, you can see that she's mostly characterized as someone who's fickle in nature, who always moves about. However, this same wealth, asked directly from the source, Bhairava, is permanent. This wealth is organically given to you and it won't move. The whole game of wealth even involves like a huge amount of karma. In general, we look at a supercar, right? Imagine Lamborghini driving across and you're in another car and you're seeing it. Or a big house. The first reaction to all this glamour, fame, money and glitter is, wow, I wish I was like that. Or I wish I wore that dress. Or I wish I had that car. That same glitter that you wanted now becomes a trap. Or some kind of vehicle for like jealousy and sorrow, and so karma. You have that wealth, sure. You become the first and take all of it. But then now you've taken a spot where others have wished for that. So not only do you take the wealth that you wanted, you also take that boatload of karma. You pray to Kuberaji, it's fine, right? This life might be full of glamour. However, next life you're going to have to balance it. The karma will hit. Bhairava, however, is the source. His rules, methods themselves are completely not in the 4 heads and in the most powerful 5th head. These plays of karma, by the way, happen across multiple realms with you in these different realms. And there are many Kuberas across many multiple realms. Praying directly to that source of Swarnakarshana Bhairava, right, son of Maa Adya, is different. He sees your jiva across these different realms, and he knows everything about you. He knows how much to give you to make you truly satisfied. You ask for extreme amounts of money, sure, fine. But Bhairava is well aware of the karma associated with the desire. So it will give you that amount of wealth you ask for, enough to keep you going and satisfied, and allow you to come with Shunyata with that particular desire. Because with extreme amounts of money comes the karma of stepping on many people's toes. Those toes you don't even know, right? And so what he does is he gives you just enough to save you the trouble of coming back just to burn immensely for it. Swarnakarshana Bhairava will give you the ability to be grand, live as a king, and he will help you attain that which is meant as per however much is needed for you. So, coming back to the subject, where Bhairava has Kubera and Mahalakshmi. Again, please watch my Guru's video. I always say you should, I think in every video. You will find many things opening up every single time you rewatch it. He speaks about a mandala, 48 days, and it generally does work. After every 48 days, go back to the same video, and you'll find that something which did not make sense to you at that time will open up now. So, okay, coming back, this particular form of Swarnakarshana Bhairava standing, Kubera Ji, Mahalakshmi, generally women who find that, they're missing an Adhara or a base, either you find yourself distancing away from your father or don't have any interest in married life with a man, etc. This specific photo resonates well with them. Reason being, here you embrace how Maa Lakshmi, Maa Kamala, looks upon Narayana Bhairava as our Adhara, becoming living, breathing embodiment of Maa Kamala, and bringing Swarnakarshana Bhairava within you. So there's another picture, the third picture of Bhairava, where he sits on a golden throne with Maa Bhairavi on his lap. And you find through all of these photos that Bhairava is not only residing in the Smashana, right? But he's also obviously in the highest grandeur perceived by society. Bhairava in this third photo that I was talking about, with Maa Bhairavi on his lap, here he's a Grihastha Nayaka. He's very much involved in family life, very much the ruler and Nayaka, and ruling with his other half. So this is perfect for Grihasthas, like someone who's recently married, for example. So right from Bhairava with his white dog, taking control of Brahmaloka, to Maa Kamala and Kuberaji, looking upon Bhairava as the Adhara, and to him with Bhairavi sitting on the golden throne, we see that the sadhaka is very much Bhairava. What do I mean? Well, these all represent the different stages of living during Swarnakarshana Bhairava's phase. We cannot pretend and say that we belong in the Smashana when we still have rents to pay, when we still have a career to get, when we still have to find that perfect partner. Bhairava and Kali sadhana isn't just about mantrocharana, right? It's about awakening them in the most powerful yantra, which is you, right? The living body, and placing them within in your Garbhagriha. Once these desires are, finished, and you slowly attain Vairagya, and then you find that you're majorly done with these desires, then he takes you to the state of Mahakala Bhairava, where he is the king of Kashi. He sits only after the Brahma Kapala falls down as Kala Bhairava. Even that glorious white dog's color turns black as the soot and char of the Smashana, and the burning coats the fur of that white dog into a black coat instead. At the end, Smashana is where we'll go. And at the end, all the desires and everything will also go to the Smashana. That's the final truth. However, Swarnakarshana Bhairava will say, don't worry, I am there. I will take you slowly. We will not rush through the process. Get you at Shunyata with everything. And finally, you can lie at the foot of Maa, shattering all the mirrors and the I within. So I think that's all for this video. I think I've pretty much majorly addressed everything that I wanted to say. BhairavaKalikeNamosthute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Jai Maa Adyamahakali.